Folks, we have a lot of stuff to talk about today, a lot of stuff to theorize over, and a lot of stuff to sort of break down because there's been some very big discoveries that have been happening recently, some very big announcements as well. But before we jump into those, let's remember two things. One, I'm not a Nintendo YouTuber. And two, if you have not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 500,000 subscribers. I'll be doing giveaways when we get there. So, I mean, just hit the button. It takes 1 second. But obviously, we have a lot of stuff to talk about today, and it's all coming from the Microsoft and Nintendo relationship. Now, the first thing we're going to be talking about is the next generation Nintendo Switch. Is it a Switch? We don't really know. The next generation Nintendo console already getting a confirmed feature, it seems like. Because you got to remember, right now, Microsoft is going through, well, a lot with the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, of course, the CMA, all these different entities of government size and stature when it comes to the acquisition of Activision. Because of the fact that, well, this is a pretty big deal. Activision, Call of Duty, very big franchises. There's other subsidiaries with Blizzard and stuff. Like, they're getting a lot of games. The FTC is stepping in, and really, Sony is just kind of being a pain in the ass in this situation. They're kind of like being the little brother, just trying to drag this whole situation out longer than it needs to be. And it's a very strange thing. You know, I think Microsoft has been very accommodating with this, offering Call of Duty for 10 years on the PlayStation systems at a minimum. That's extending after the current deal that's already there. But PlayStation, you know, wants to act like the victim, and I don't know, some people just enjoy being the victim their whole life. They don't like to, I don't know. That's a topic for another day. But within these FTC meetings and all of these different statements going on and all of these different information happening, all this information ends up becoming public. Now, some of the things get eradicated, meaning that they take out something that maybe hasn't been discussed in the public eye. But there was an interesting discovery involving Nintendo Switch Online. Now, obviously, Nintendo Switch Online is indeed what we have right now. The online service that not only allows you to play games online, but of course has the whole retro consoles already fitted onto your system via a download that you access with these different subscription tiers. If you have the base stuff, you get stuff like Game Boy, NES, Super Nintendo. If you have the expansion pack, you get N64, Sega Genesis, Game Boy Advance. It's pretty clear that this is something going forward that Nintendo is wanting to do, and it does seem like it will be available on this next generation Nintendo platform, which shouldn't really come as a huge surprise to anyone. But there is some sort of questioning involving this because of the fact that in these FTC documents, it was said that Nintendo Switch Online is, of course, a part of Nintendo Switch and Radicated. So people are thinking that that Radicated thing is whatever's going to be the next generation Nintendo console. And that does make sense, but I'm not quite sure that that's what this is talking about. It could be talking about something like cell phones or something. Maybe Nintendo expands into that market. I think, you know, some people are jumping the gun a little bit with this. I mean, when you look at that lovely graph that everyone loves to share on the internet to show that Nintendo is going to do backwards compatibility with the next Nintendo system, even though that's not what this is saying. That is talking about, of course, the Nintendo Switch Online account. Your account is obviously going to transfer over, but it's more so the content. Will that content actually be available on the next system? Because of the fact that, well, it's called Nintendo Switch Online. Now, they could obviously rename the service to Nintendo Service Online or something like that, but when you're using the Switch moniker with NSO, you know, is that next system going to be a Nintendo Switch? I don't know. There's a lot of things to go over with it, but I do think at the end of the day, this probably is indicative of the fact that this is going to be available on whatever Nintendo's next platform is whenever we do see that. Will it be a Switch? Will it be something different? Will it be something more traditional? Who the hell knows? It is Nintendo at the end of the day, but I can't help but feel that maybe Nintendo will expand that online service into phones as far as the retro games are concerned. It seems like, you know, that would be a real money maker for them, but I thought that was interesting that, you know, it was in these documents because we've been getting a lot of stuff within these documents, and also within these documents, we of course learned that Microsoft is planning to bolster the relationship with Nintendo. Now, obviously, these two have been playing very nicely together. They've done lots of different campaigns, even marketing campaigns, stuff like Fortnite and Minecraft, build together, play together, and Sony, once again, looked like the old man standing outside the window like, "Get off my lawn, you son of a bitch. No, you play only on PlayStation. It's the best place to play." And it's like, bro, give people choices, man. I don't think that's going to win over any people by saying you're the best, just let people play with each other. And of course, as time has gone on, Sony has softened their stance on that because they looked like idiots with it. But there's been a lot of cool stuff with Microsoft and Nintendo. You've had things like the Ori games come over to the Nintendo Switch. You, of course, had GoldenEye 007, which I still think they completely botched both the Xbox version and the Nintendo Switch version. I don't know why they couldn't just have the same version. Like, even if the Xbox version had 4K and the Switch version didn't, if it still had parity across, like, control schemes and online multiplayer, nobody would care. Nobody would care. They would just be happy, and the 4K wouldn't be a big deal. But for whatever reason, they decided to break up the features to one system to another. You want custom controls to play like a modern game? Play it on Xbox. You want to play with your friends online? Play it on Switch. Stupid. But we've seen lots of different things happening. But now, boys and girls, we got contract signing. We got contract signing because bam! Bam! The vice president of Microsoft has announced late at 2 a.m., because I guess they're always working, we have now signed a binding 10-year contract to bring Xbox games to Nintendo gamers. This is just part of the commitment to bring Xbox games and Activision titles like Call of Duty to more players on more platforms. Microsoft and Nintendo have now negotiated and signed a binding 10-year legal agreement to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo players the same day as Xbox, with full feature and content parity, so they can experience Call of Duty just as Xbox and PlayStation gamers enjoy Call of Duty. We are committed to providing long-term equal access to Call of Duty to other gaming platforms, bringing more choice to more players and more competition to the gaming market. Now, obviously, this is a large announcement because, when you think of Nintendo versions of Call of Duty, some of them haven't been all that great. I had fun with the ones back on the Wii era, but the series has moved on. The series has really expanded into more intricate online stuff. Obviously things like Warzone are huge experiences. And the thought process was that Call of Duty was going to come to Nintendo platforms, but it was probably going to be something different, maybe like a mobile version of the game. But obviously, no, this is full feature, full content parity, meaning that whatever's on the Xbox version, whatever's on the PlayStation version is also going to be on the Nintendo Switch version. And that, my friends, is super interesting. Now, I guess, wait a minute, now we have to read this again, because now it does say Nintendo gamers. It does say Microsoft and Nintendo have negotiated and signed a binding 10-year legal agreement to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo players. It doesn't necessarily say the Nintendo Switch. So could this be for the next Nintendo console? Obviously, we assume the next Nintendo console is going to be stronger. It's going to have more capabilities. It's going to probably have better this, better that, all that sort of stuff. It's going to be more like a modern platform, because of the fact that even if they go with the Switch and mobile technology and stuff like that, mobile technology has greatly expanded. So that's super interesting to me. But I find the wording of this interesting too. We've now signed a binding 10-year contract to bring Xbox games to Nintendo gamers. And it almost feels like this could be just the start. It almost feels like, I'm sorry, I'm sniffling. I all of a sudden can't stop sneezing. It almost feels like this is the start of something else. We've obviously seen Microsoft and Nintendo work together, but I feel like the timing of this, the wording of this, really shows that maybe with this next Nintendo platform that is going to have Nintendo Switch Online with the legacy systems on it, according to the FTC documents, maybe this next Nintendo platform is going to show an even stronger bond between these two companies, because I feel like they're gearing up for something large. I can't help but feel like Microsoft wants to work with Nintendo, maybe even more so than Nintendo wants to work with Microsoft. But if it's beneficial to both companies, and especially if it's beneficial to Nintendo, I don't see why they don't pursue it. I don't see why they don't dive in with this, because if you know, all of the relationships so far, they've really benefited Nintendo more so than they have Microsoft. Maybe it just makes Microsoft look like a better person, you know, putting their games on Nintendo platforms. But when you look at Microsoft, I don't necessarily think they care about system sales. I don't think they care. I think they just want people to play their games. They want people to buy their games. They want people to play their games on Game Pass and sign up for these subscription services. So if Nintendo can allow something like that going in the future, man, I don't know. This to me is big stuff, though. This is some big stuff. Almost as big as my nose being clogged halfway through the video. Halfway through me filming this, then my nose is just like, you know what? We're gonna put some boogers up in there. Hit the like button for boogers, people. But let me know what you think of everything in the comment section down below. Obviously, some very big stuff here. You know, a lot of things to go over. I want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on it. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit the bell notification as well. And as always, I will catch you guys on the next video. Later.